This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
Welcome to Citizen FM News at 6. I am Didi Eno. We begin with the headlines. The federal government inaugurates Governing Board of Niger Delta Development Commission, JAMB, disclose candidates with biometric abnormalities. And in sports, data from NBS show in the inauguration, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, urged the members of the board to be above board, adding that they should work together towards policies that would contribute to the coordinated development of the Niger Delta. The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, has disclosed that candidates with biometric abnormalities or challenges will only be election hall or to sit for exams, as its systems would not permit its processing of any exam offices, adding that any candidate who ignores the directive will not be able to complete his or her registration. Former Imo State Governor Ikedio Hakim is now at Oreagu. The assailants pursued his vehicle. Hakim, who said he saw the assailants, said they were not amateurs, but they were well-trained professionals who drove a brand new SUV, and he said it is becoming terrible and has made most Easterners to stay away from home. He said he asked the question if they're going to stay in Owerri or Abuja permanently without coming back to their local communities. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics has shown that China topped Nigeria's major import trade in the second quarter of 2021 on the import trade list. The data further show that China recorded 29.9%, that's about 2.08 trillion naira of the total import, which stood at 6.95 trillion naira in the same quarter. On the other hand, India leads on the list of Nigeria's major export trading partner with 18.7%, that's about 949.05 billion naira of the total export, which stood at 5.08 trillion naira in the same quarter under review. A breakdown from MBS explained that the first 5 countries among the major export trading partners included India, which recorded 18.7%, Spain recorded 10.3%, and Canada 7.0%, with Netherlands coming behind at 5.9% and the United States of America at 5.1%. And now to news on the foreign scene. Russia's defense ministry has raised to 89 the number of its military personnel that have been killed in a recent Ukrainian rocket raid on a school housing soldiers in Makivka. That's in a Russian-occupied Donetsk region, and has blamed the attack on unauthorized use of mobile phones by its forces. While Ukraine has claimed that about 400 Russian soldiers were killed in the missile attack in the first minutes of New Year's Day, Moscow had until Wednesday maintained that 63 Russian soldiers were killed. Igor Girkin, who's a former Russian Federal Security Service officer who was instrumental in starting the initial 2014 war in the Donbass region, said that ammunition and military equipment had been stored in the buildings that houses the Russian soldiers, contributing to the strength of the blast. And at least Somalia on Wednesday, where a major offensive was launched last year against the Al-Qaeda-linked group. Public Commander in Mahaz Osman Nur said the terrorist, after having been defeated, resorted to desperately targeting civilians. But this will not stop the will of the people to continue defeating them. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has declared all-out war against Al-Shabaab, which has been waging a war and a bloody insurgency against a fragile internationally backed federal government for 15 years. to U.S. criminal fraud charges over the spectacular collapse of his crypto exchange. The 30-year-old former digital currency billionaire who is out on bail entered the plea in federal court in Manhattan before New York Judge Lewis Kaplan. FTX and its sister trading house Alameda Research went bankrupt in November, dissolving a virtual trading business that at one point had been valued by the market at $32 billion. Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty to all counts charged against him, 5 of which carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison each. Judge Kaplan set a tentative date of October 2 for the start of his trial. Finally, at the news this evening, Myanmar troops and weaponry have paraded through the capital to mark 75 years of independence from Britain. Just days after the country's military rulers sent the democratically elected leader and Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi to prison for a combined 33 years. Tanks, missiles, launchers, and armored cars rolled through the dawn air to the parade ground in the capital on Wednesday to kick off a military procession marking the 75th anniversary of independence of Myanmar. Civil servants and high school students followed the troops. Accompanied by a military band, a 21-gun salute greeted the country's military ruler, Senior General Min Aung-hlaing, as he arrived at the parade ground. Russian President Vladimir Putin was one of the first world leaders to send his sincere greetings and anticipated the further development of relations. And that's Citizen FM News at 6 p.m. as compiled and edited by Rayo Motosho. To listen to us online, please visit citizenfm.ng. I am Didi and to stay with us. Super Citizen at Sunset continues in a bit.
It has just begun.
Check it out.
Please scan your dial.
You found it. You found it. Citizen
93.7 FM.
Abuja.